Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day. It's supposed to hit like 91 degrees today. Horrible. I dropped the downpipe off at a repair shop that said they could put that bung in for me. Probably have it done this afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and wire in these instruments and this fuel pump and stuff like that and go pick that up this afternoon. I'm also going to see if I can fix this turbo coolant situation here. That's bad. I got a turbo with me. I'm gonna see if it has a plug that I can screw in there that'll be flush with the turbo so that I can move this turbo line where it belongs. When these cars came out of the factory, the turbo had two connections for where you could put that coolant line on the back, upper and lower. This one's in the lower, should be in the upper. So I'm gonna see if I could move that. This oil line may also be in the way for that, but let's see what happens. This is how these turbos usually come. They have this bottom hole with a freeze plug in it, the top hole where the coolant line screws into. But that one has bolts. So what I think I'm going to have to do is pull a line, pull a bolt, put the bolt in down here, grind the head of it down until I could get this line in and the line to seal. So get like a minimal clearance past it and fly like that. Because right now this line is in this lower hole and that makes the pipe come down too long. And I just don't like this pipe because it's got a crush spot on it. You know, the heck, that may work, but it doesn't look good. And the hoses don't look good. So let me get to work. I moved the bolt down to the lower hole and I grinded a lot of it off so that hopefully that pipe above it will seat. So that's how that looks. And let's see if we can get this pipe on there to seat and seal. There it is, folks. It is bolted in. I had to double the inner washer, which compromises the banjo bolt a little bit. I wouldn't triple it, but doubling it may be okay. It seems tight. Seems like it's got just a little bit of space around that bolt. Probably barely touching it. But hopefully we'll be good to go. I don't know when we fill the coolant up. If it's going to leak, it leaks as soon as you start filling the coolant up. So we're going to leave that there for now and work on this wiring stuff. Here we are. We're going to run some wiring through that firewall loom and wire up these sensors. Got wires coming out here. I'm going to pull this harness in a lot further because this is the harness that plugs into that AFR. And then I'm gonna shorten this harness inside so I don't have all this wasted wire harness inside on this AFR sensor like I did on my car. So then there's another harness I got to take from the gauge pod down to here. I got the sensor wire pulled through right there to the plug. I got 4 extra wires out here. This red one's going to be feeding the fuel pump. 16 gauge. I think I'm gonna hook it up to 12 gauge or 14 gauge under the dash. So let me go ahead and connect that. Here's that connector, and this is to that fuel pump wire harness that we installed a couple months ago. Routing wires down behind the dash and to the floor. So I got the gauge pod set up here and doing that one run at a time. It's a lot of work, seems like. Anyway, I'm gonna take a lunch break and I'll be back in a little bit. We are back from lunch, pulling wires. Let's keep pulling. Got the gauge pod installed. We got boost, AFR, and voltmeter. Now I'm wiring all that stuff in under the dash. So here's my wiring situation down here. It's kind of live, a little bit of a mess, but let me tell you how these plugs go. This yellow plug that's on the brake lights, the red is hot all the time. The yellow is hot when the brake is engaged, and this blue with the yellow is hot when the ignition's on. Not 100% sure what that wire is for. The green's never hot. Guess it's a ground. Here, this black is, I would call it a dirty ground. This pink is a light dimmer. So if you want something dimmable with your parking lights and your dash lights, that's what that pink light's for. This blue, white, I never got anything out of that, I don't think. Nope. And this red is hot all the time. And this brown is hot when you have the key in the number 1 position. So if you're looking for an accessory power, this brown wire with the orange stripe on it is your wire. Now if you want something to dim down with your headlights, only your headlights, this big red plug here, the first wire, black, is a ground. The next wire, brown with a pink stripe, that powers the headlights. So when your headlight switch is on, that's on, and it is not dimmable. So that's a good headlight. Not parking light, but headlight. So if you want to tap to dim a gauge only when your headlights are on, that's your wire right there. Now you got this relay socket up here. All the way to the right, halfway down in the middle, is a hot power. Hot all the time. All the way down the bottom in the middle is hot only when you're in the run position. Now, you got this support bar up here, got that bolt going in it with painted partly. That's a good ground if you want to tap into that ground that. This bolt here is a good ground. This is a really good ground here, and it has 2 posts where you can ground 2 more things on there. You don't want nothing that needs a solo ground plugged into that, but something with a nice, good, clean, solid ground. That's your deal there. Hope that helps. I have all the gauges wired up, spliced in and stowed. I need to put a fuse on that AM gauge wire. I think it's 5-amp fuse they want to protect it. I got the fuel wire in here. I need to hook it up outside. I need to hook up the brake switch to this old style brake switch and see if I got a cruise switch, because that one's got a tab busted on it. So I can hook up the cruise switch to the brake pedal. And then I think I'll be done in here. I'm hooking up this red and yellow wire to that brake switch up there. Red and yellow on that switch right there, that brown switch. Here it is. Got the cruise switch working and the brake light switch working. I don't have those other 2 wires hooked up. We'll see if something doesn't work when we rig up the rest of the car. I'm gonna ask online here and see if anybody knows. 7:32. I am done for the day. And I'm beat because it was hot today. So let me get back to the hotel, eat me some dinner, relax, and look forward to knock this out tomorrow. Knock it out of the park tomorrow, boy! If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.